Hello there. So do you know that the first time I stood up to make a speech in front of my entire school, I failed. I forgot my words, I trembled with nervousness, and it was literally the worst moment of my life. But then, how did I end up as a YouTuber and a TEDx speaker? Today, let's unpack my greatest learnings about public speaking. So, let's get going. Hey everyone, this is Chetna and you're watching ChetChat. It's a Friday today, and this one, by the way, is a much requested video. I promise that by the end of these 10 minutes, you will find it very easy to speak in public, to speak like a leader, to hook the audience, keep them on the edge of the seat, and then when they leave, they will carry a strong impression of your words. Tip number 1, serving the audience. Leadership roles in the corporate world are not decided on the basis of technical skills. What about results? Maybe 40%. But then, how are you evaluated for a leadership role, like a director, a vice president, or even the CEO of an organization? Do you know what is really considered? Your attitude. How you conduct yourself, how you react, tackle a challenge, present to an audience, reflect, whether you respond like a leader or not. And right attitude comes from right mindset. So we want to sound like an influential leader, which means that we will have to get the right mindset. In this case, the mindset to give something valuable to the audience. When you stand on a stage or behind a camera, remind yourself that you are there to serve the audience, not to upgrade your resume, not to enhance your identity, not to create a viral video or to even sell your brand. You are there to help someone who is listening to you. Give wholeheartedly. When you go through the best of the TED Talks, every video is worth no less than a best-selling book. But they just opened up wholeheartedly, all for free. And this is the mindset that will add a shine to your confidence. Your hands will rise in command and give you direction because you have nothing to lose. So when you write out your speech or maybe rehearse in front of a mirror, don't think of the claps you're going to get, but how can you make each and every second of your audience times worth their attention. Tip number 2, package is important. Public speaking is a very dynamic activity. You can prepare 1,000,000 times, but you can still land the cake upside down at the event. We assume that the audience is there to listen to you, uninterrupted, fully focused. But unfortunately, when you reach the stage, gossip about the AC, people getting up and walking out, or chatting with each other because they are bored. At that time, imagine you with the carbon footprint of leading organizations are much more than the blah, blah, blah. Nobody will care. No matter how valuable the lesson is that you are about to reveal, they are not ready to take it because you haven't packaged it right. There is a very creative way to tackle this problem. Psychological research tells us that the best way to hook the audience immediately is through suspense or a comic story. Here's a snippet of Steve Jobs' speech at Stanford University. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months and stayed around as a drop-in for around 18 months or so before I really quit. So, why did I drop out? Suspense. Why did he drop out? The audience is hooked. Or maybe through a comical story like Veer Das's speech in the convocation ceremony of Knox College, where he says,
"This whole ceremony is stupid. It is. It is stupid.
We're in the heat, dressed like obese silkworms. We're wearing a hat that we do not yet have the facial structure to pull off. A comedian is standing where Lincoln, Obama, Clinton, and more importantly, Eva Longoria once stood. The audience is hooked when you start like this, enthralled. Notice I did the same thing when I started this video. Suspense. Why did I fail? So when you prepare your talk, let the jolly mind and the detective come into play. Loosen up a bit. Make some funny comment about the situation, like, oh boy, this stage is huge. Or if you're in a smaller group, I don't feel like I'm speaking in public. My family is bigger than you guys. And trust me, no audience can ignore you, no matter how distracted they are. And before we go on to tip number 3, I would like to give a shout out to Radhika Singh for leaving this amazing message under my last video. And you know exactly what to do. If you want a shout out in my next video, leave a comment below with the hashtag ChetChatters. Tip number 3, avoid the mime game. The mime game is when you try to imitate someone else while speaking. This puts unwarranted pressure to control every aspect while speaking. And what do you get in return? Nothing but anxiety. The party pooper. Okay, I understand that we look up to world leaders. The way they speak, their charisma, their impact, the natural urge to mimic them comes into us. But remember, no one is interested to see a duplicate Martin Luther King or a duplicate APJ Abdul Kalam, but an original you. Let's take some examples. Steve Jobs carried a paper to his speech, and Elon Musk does not make eye contact with the public. Some cardinal mistakes, you would say. Yet, when they spoke, they connected with the audience. You know why? Because they were passionate about what they were talking about, and that gave them their distinctive personality. Remember, you cannot fake your passion for what you are speaking. If you don't care about it, no one else will either. So what do? Let's see. You spend time understanding the topic, do your research, put in your effort, and own the solution. Brainstorm. 10% speaking, 90% homework. That is what makes you a master and a leader. And before we move on to the final technique of impressive public speaking, if you're looking maybe for some body language tips and that will help you make a good impression as well, then I will drop a link below to one of our very popular videos. Tip number 4, scary voice. What could be scarier than hearing your own voice calling out to you from another room in the dark, lonely night? Most people hate the sound of their own voice. So what's the action plan? 3 things. Put it down right now. Pen, paper, notes, mobile, whatever. Number 1, record your speech and listen to it. I know that sound ew, but you can't imagine the thought process it will trigger. It's a great realization in itself. Plus, it helps you remember the speech too. Number 2, record a video. This is the best way to become an audience to your own show, where you can easily judge maybe your voice moderation on different segments of the topic or where you need to improve. And number 3, perform in small groups. This is a very stand-up comedian-like thing. It could be maybe your friends, your family, anyone, but do perform. Get their attention. Call them for snacks, but make sure you perform. This will get you the hang of your own amplified voice. So, do write to me when you make your next powerful speech. Meantime, press the subscribe button and hit that thumbs up right now. And see you next Friday.